Welcome, we are back with another episode of Zero to Hero, DPS edition. We haven't had the best luck these last few episodes, and I wish this one was different, but no, we're still coming across angry people who take zero accountability. It even got to the point where I was straight up being flamed, and you won't even need to wait to the end of the episode to see it. But while I still got you here, I want to talk about what's next. And I'm gonna be honest, I was thinking about continuing all the tanks to Keystone Hero from last season, but I got a druid to level 80 and got Keystone Hero within like 15 dungeons. So this is sad to say, but tanking is just too easy this season. I also made a demo warlock, but it turns out Cussy Slayer decided to steal my idea, so please do go over there and tear him a new one. So the only option left was healer. I was doing some thinking, and I know you guys might not be happy with this pick, but hear me out. I know you love to see me suffer, but I do also want to enjoy this game, so I thought it would be best to go Disc Priest. I know, it's a broken healer right now, but I'm a damage dealer at heart, so this player style suits me the most. But next time I'll play Retro Druid, I promise. Let me know how you feel in the comments, but in the meantime, sit back, relax, and enjoy this horror. There's no better way to kick this off than with a failed dungeon and toxic teammates. I get why they were mad I failed a easy ass mechanic, but even with this mistake it was easily savable. However, my healer couldn't heal the damage from the ad, so we wiped. What's really annoying though is I got the full blame for this dungeon, all because of my warrior. Not the fact that I had a hunter doing 0 damage and that was dying multiple times throughout the key, or my tank who didn't even know mechanics on the boss. So instead, I was running around like a headless chicken making up for that, which later got me killed because my teammate decided to randomly do a U-turn just as he was about to receive the dot. He also tanked the final boss in the middle, which is a big no-no because it creates more problems for the healer. What annoyed me the most was he doubled down after the dungeon ended.
Like, is this guy for real?
Hell, even if we killed the ad, we still wouldn't have timed the key, but instead of explaining why it's my fault, instead I got told to speak to the hand because the face isn't listening. And at that point, I knew what I was dealing with. A child. I said sorry, and I was gonna move on, I really was, but I got sucked into the rage bait. So I got to typing. I was straight up spitting facts, and this person said the most ignorant thing I've ever heard, and it wasn't even related to the game. But the cherry on top, after all that, all I got told to do was play arms, which is just a classic. It doesn't matter if you have the most kicks or almost topping the damage meters, because at the end of the day, you're still a typical warrior. The funny thing about all this is, I ran back a 10 rookery because I thought I was going completely insane, and we easily timed the key with 4 minutes to spare. We even had the same situation where we failed the mechanic, but we lived through it this time. We got 1 IO rating, which is better than nothing I guess. I don't know why, but this last 100 IO rating was harder than getting to 3k on my VDH. Pretty much every key after this was a big fat flop. You got the occasional one where everyone played really well and we easily 2-chested it, but let's just focus on the flops. It mostly just came down to bad decision making, like our first wipe on Dark Flame Cleft. Instead of just committing to the boss, people decided to stop hitting it and then suddenly started focusing the cart. 2 members of the group lived, but the tank died to the tank buster. Also, people dying to the giant AoE before the second boss definitely didn't do us any favors. Our healer also died during the second boss. We tried to power through and kill it before it killed us, but that didn't happen. We ran it back, but people not fully understanding the mechanics, it was making the fight way harder than it needed to be. The best way to handle this boss is to light as many candles as possible on the first set of mechanics, and then only blow out 1 candle, and it's usually the one I put a blue marker on. My tank also just straight up walked out of melee, so the boss just slapped me to death. Even in the next dungeon, it was the same exact thing. People not fully understanding the mechanics, so we got too many dots on us, and when the big AoE blast came out, it took out half the group. Our mage also died on the Candle King boss, so that wasted a bit more time, but because it's Dark Flame Cleft, the timer is very generous. So even with these mistakes, you can easily time the key on a 10. We got 35 IO rating, and a back upgrade. But now it's back to them hour-long queues. I was even putting ridiculous messages hoping I would get invited, but the only one that actually worked is when I posed as a DK, and I finally got accepted. And let's just say I didn't blend in well with these guys. These dudes were straight up pumping, so we easily 2-chested the key. Believe me, I'm also embarrassed too. Finishing below the tank and the overall damage is nothing to be proud of. But like I say, you can still be on the top in other areas. Sometimes just doing the mechanics correctly and making things easier so other people can shine is all you need to time these sort of keys. After that hard carry from my group, I wanted to team with people who don't have insane eye level, because there's no fun in being carried. And normally when you make your own key and handpick your group, things are usually easier, right? We had a hunter who couldn't live through anything. If there was a big damage ability coming out, you bet your ass this dude was gonna die. He also never used lust, and we was already 7 minutes into this dungeon. Our tank was screaming at him, but by the time he finally used lust, the deed was done. Our tank was tilted and couldn't really focus, so on the next big pull, he died. Everyone was pretty salty at the hunter at this point, so the key was basically over. I ran it back as a 10 and we easily timed it, but the bad news is I got an 11 priory. And it went as you expect. When I saw this tank do this crazy pull in 11, I knew we was in for a rough time. The rest of the pulls leading up to the first boss were also insane.
I already know this idiot is going to pull the mini boss with that giant pack. So I'm saving Avatar for and all my other cooldowns because I can just feel it in my bones.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn.
But after that, it mostly came down to a skill issue. I died because I didn't press my self-heal button.
Oh, damn, I didn't press my heal button.
And then my DK got a few deaths, but what really killed the key was on the final boss during the second phase. During the second phase, the first wave of ads we dealt with no problems, but I guess we ran out of CC abilities on the next set of ads. I tried my best to AoE him down without taking too much damage, but once our healer died, we no longer had any heals, so we eventually all fizzled out. After wiping, the chances of timing this key was no longer there, but at least we got some IO rating.
Nice.
Our pain and suffering didn't end there. Going into this 10 Cinder Brew, I was feeling confident. If we timed this key and close out just one more, we would finally be able to end this horrible endeavor. But sadly, it turned straight into this fiesta. The first boss didn't go any better. People just dying on the first phase. Then I got knocked right into death during the intermission. The packs were also slapping us up.
I can't fucking see a thing in this goddamn...
We got to the point where we was just straight up getting overwhelmed. 31 deaths and 37 minutes later, we finally closed out this key. We got some IO rating, but nothing to push us over the edge. Oh, and the chaos still kept going. We lost our healer midway through the first boss, then the mage, and then our monk soon followed, leaving me in the tank to finish off the first boss. Our main issue this dungeon though was this mage. Not only was he butt pulling and wiping the whole group, he also was dying to pretty much everything. All this would have been fine if he was doing damage, but he wasn't even contributing in that either. The boss fights went smooth, but with all the deaths and the sheer amount of time it took to clear out the entire dungeon, by the time we got to the final boss, we was over by 4 minutes. We ended up wiping one more time on the final boss just for the fun of it, but not just once, 2 times. We eventually figured out the boss, but at this point I was so tilted I just wanted this challenge to be over with. And I really thought it would be it with this 10 motherload, but sadly it just wasn't. The tank did some insanely spicy first pull. And don't get me wrong, I don't think this pull was that bad, but with no lust and a fury warrior who barely does more damage than the tank, the outcome was always going to be the same. We ran it back and pulled the Peacekeeper on its own, but if you've played bear tank, you know this dude slaps. If you're not in Incan or have bark skin up, you're basically dead. So yeah, the tank eventually died and that was the end of that. I was so tilted at this point that I even made another ult. We eventually called it a night and returned the next day. And I gotta say, these dungeons were 10 times better than the other dungeons I've done all season. We only had a few deaths in this Dark Flame Cleft, one being when my tank walked out of melee again, so I got slapped to death. But if you've watched this series all the way through, you know this stuff never happens. Like, ever. But the rest of the dungeon was smooth, only getting one more death on the final boss, so we easily 2-chested this and got a whopping 8 IO rating. I also got a 12 Cinder Brew. I didn't feel confident going into this 12, my eye level is super low and I would only hinder my teammates, so we lowered it to 11 and sent it. And honestly, this dungeon was perfect. All the bosses were clean. Even packs we struggled with in the past went down with no hiccups. Everyone was doing good damage and we was doing all the core mechanics, which made the run super clean and simple for the group. We sadly didn't manage to keep the clean sheet though. We lost our healer and DPS on the final boss, but overall it didn't mess up the 2 chest, and we closed it out and finally got Keystone Hero. And honestly, I couldn't be happier. Could I see myself pushing to 3k on this character? Absolutely not, mainly because of the queue times. I was waiting 30 to 45 minutes to get into a key, which is totally understandable. Fury Warrior isn't in a great spot right now, but overall, I really did enjoy this. The rotation was easy, each button felt nice to hit, there's also 0 downtime in your rotation. It's just the little things that are annoying. You don't really have amazing self-sustain, and the AoE cap can be a pain in the ass in the majority of these keys. I do believe this is a great character as an entry into learning DPS, and I'm happy I picked it. I hope everyone enjoyed this series. Stay tuned for the best healing you've ever seen, because we are about to tackle a new adventure. Hey, maybe even this time we'll push the 3k, but for now, stay pumping. And as always, if you like the content, subscribe. If you made it this far, we already know you like the content, so subscribe anyway. Like, comment, all of that good stuff. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.